Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This week I thought I would take a look at Train Sim World 2. Now Train Sim World 2 is basically a franchise by Dovetail Games, which are the creators of Train Simulator, and it's a bit of an offshoot, I guess you could say, and there are some differences between Train Simulator and Train Sim World. Train Sim World 2 is what we're looking at today, so it's the second installment of Train Sim World. And Train Sim World is basically all about, you're in first person view, you can walk around, you can jump on and off trains and rolling stock and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I'd take a bit of a look at this game today, and I must say I am a little bit late to the party, unfortunately, on this one. And yeah, it's been well, not quite 2 years since this was released actually, and this video will serve as a bit of a first look at the game itself, but more so just a review of one of the add-ons as well, the Tees Valley add-on, which we'll be looking at, which is basically a vintage British era route, I guess you could say. Experience a bygone era of British rail in the historic birthplace of railways, basically. So anyway, this is the main page of Train Sim World, and as you can see here, there's a number of routes available for you to choose by default. You've got the Sandpatch grade, you've got the Schnell, I'm not even going to try to say that, it's basically the German rail that you can choose, the high speed, like the modern rail. You've got the London Underground, the Bakerloo line, and yeah, so these three are the default routes, and here I've obviously got the Tees Valley line, which I've purchased as a separate add-on, and this is what we'll be looking at today. So I might leave some of the other routes there for some future videos perhaps. Always welcome your feedback as usual, but yes, the Sandpatch grade actually is a really nice one. If you pick up this game, I definitely recommend the Sandpatch grade for some US freight operations. Otherwise, the German and the UK lines as well are pretty good. You've got the Underground line here, the Bakerloo line, which is based in London. But yeah, not really a huge fan of that one. So yeah, anyway, we'll take a look at the Tees Valley route add-on today for Train Sim World 2, and we'll have obviously a bit of a first look at the game as well, the Train Sim World 2 game. So what are the features of Train Sim World 2? Basically, whilst this thing loads up, is there's new adhesion physics with this game in comparison to the first version of Train Sim World. And I've chosen this scenario because it's raining, as you can see here, so we'll get to have a bit of a look and just see how those adhesion physics hold up, I guess, in these conditions. So here we are, obviously in first person view, just walking around here. You can see there, just on the rail, it puts a nice little red crosshair when you're on the railroad itself, as a bit of a danger sign, signal for yourself, so just be careful. I find that quite funny, but anyway, just looking at these textures on the ground here, really well done. I must say I've really missed out by not looking at this game sooner than I have, but yeah, just the level of detail and the graphics that they've put, and yeah, this is using the Unreal Engine, and you can see here even the fuel gauge is present and working on the train, and you can actually refuel the train as well. In this scenario, that feature is locked, but in other scenarios you can actually refuel your trains as you're driving, so that's pretty cool. Making our way back to the rear of the engine here, we've got a coupling, obviously, and these couplings you can interact with. You've got the handbrakes here on the carriages too, which you can apply and disengage as well. So yes, very period correct rolling stock. So this is the Tees Valley add-on, obviously, that I'm in right now. So this is a bit of a vintage era British diesel, I guess, simulation, diesel electric. There's actually no steam simulation as yet in Train Sim World 2. However, it has been announced, and there have been some articles and news on it lately. So really looking forward to actually the steam engines within this game as well. But anyway, one thing you can do, obviously, you can jump into the engine to the back or the front. You can set your tail lights up and things like that in the rear of the engine first if you want to. Obviously, I'm not going to worry about that just now. just going to hop in and just going to follow the directions here. This scenario that I'm doing is one of the first scenarios for this add-on, and so it's got a bit of a tutorial feel to it, but I just want to show off how you can actually pretty much interact with every single switch in the cabs of these locomotives. So that's one thing that I really that actually quite surprised me, because in the past it seemed like the simulation depth wasn't actually that realistic, but here you can play with the lights. You can turn the interior lights, the cab lights, all sorts of things on and off, open closed doors, and you can hear the sound changes when you close the door. The windows are the same way as well, the sound changes, and a very cozy sort of feel as we stand here in this cab. And you can see here they've modeled the crew members as well. We've got a nice little handbrake here as well, which is all released at the moment, so that's good. And yeah, a very wonderful view out of the window at the moment. A very nice sunny British weather, as you can see there. I love the water effects on the glass as well. Very nicely done. You've got these interactive sun visors too that you can raise or lower as you see fit. Won't be needing them today though. Okay, so let's take a seat, and you can see here it says at the top left it's giving us directions on how to get the scenario underway. The locomotive engine is already running, so we just need to insert the master key, so that unlocks all the controls. It's asking us to apply the locomotive brake there, and then set the reverser into forward. Now you can set it to engine only and perform a real engine start operation. And in some of these scenarios you do have to start the locomotive from cold and dark, which is awesome. And even in some of the US locomotives, those American locomotives, you can actually walk alongside and open the engine doors, and you can see the engine in all its glory, and you can do a manual start procedure. All the circuit breakers, things like that, they're all modeled as well, so very nicely done. Okay, so let's test out these adhesion physics. I'm just going to give this thing full throttle, and don't try this at home basically. And you can see here that the wheels are kind of starting to spin there, and the engine is starting to hunt around a little bit. It's not quite sure what to do here. It's being asked to pull this huge heavy train, and yeah, we're not treating it very well at the moment. So you can see where it's got the speed counter there, the 4.9, 5.5 and all that kind of thing. There's some little red squiggly marks there, and that sort of denotes when the wheels are slipping. And you can see there the on-screen display, which I've got currently showing on the screen, which you can actually turn on and off. I'm just going to turn the wipers on here, or the wiper. So yes, we have actually managed to get going, even though I gave it full throttle just now, just to get this thing moving off the line. That is definitely not how you're meant to drive the locomotive, but anyway. So there's all sorts of little indications on the on-screen display there, that little, that big speedo at the bottom right of the screen. It shows you the brake gauges, things like that. Just opening the window there, you can see that's all quite realistic. The sound does change a little bit, probably hard to pick up from the video because of my incessant rambling, but yeah, the sound effects are done really well on most of these trains and most of these locomotives. And this is the Class 37, by the way, the Class 37 locomotive. Geez, I've got a lot to get through, so hopefully I don't ramble on too much. But yes, this is the Class 37. This is one of my favorite, actually, British vintage diesel electric locomotives of the bygone era of the 1960s. So yeah, really enjoy driving this locomotive. Just talking about sound as well, I'm just going to head to the rear of the train and just listen to the sounds here of the rolling stock. And you can tell it's the old style railway because of the clickety-clack of the joints there. And look at that, you can actually even adjust the handbrake from the exterior camera view, so that's interesting. But yes, really enjoy this. I'm actually a veteran of these train simulators since probably Microsoft's classic MSTS, which I picked up a very long time ago. And that was, you know, basically that lit my fire, I guess you could say, for these train simulators. So I must say we've come a long way since those Microsoft days, MSTS days. But even so, a lot of the controls these days in these simulators, they're still very much based off the old Microsoft train simulator. So that's quite interesting. Okay, what I'm going to do here, so this is just showing the amperage display here. This shows you how much power the locomotive is currently generating. And that is a direct indication of how much torque is going to the axles. So actually we're heading up quite a steep incline here, even though it may not look like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the throttle to idle, and I'm just going to let the train stop, and it'll probably roll back actually. But I just want to show off those adhesion physics, a little bit better, because they've really done it really well with this game. And it basically rivals Derail Valley as far as I'm concerned in its physics modeling. So you can see here the train's now stopped and it's actually moving backwards. So let's quickly arrest that movement by putting the brake on. And I just want to show you how difficult it is if you get things wrong and you try and start the train now. So we're on a bit of an uphill grade, right? Well, apparently we're on a downhill grade now, but the train was moving backwards, so I'm just going to go with that. I'm not going to trust the on-screen display there that says we're on a downhill, because when I take the brakes off and then I start to apply power, which I'm doing here, listen to the sounds and watch those rearmost wheels here. Hopefully you can see them. It's a little bit hard to see. You can see the rearmost axle there is slipping. Let's just increase the power a bit more and listen and look. There it is. Look at those wheels slipping. The engine's hunting and the train is actually being, well, it's rolling backwards. And, oh, okay, that rearmost axle's just gone crazy. It's just spinning like mad right now. Okay, now it looks like, yeah, okay. Looks like the locomotive has quit providing power even though I'm in full throttle. It's probably got some sort of traction control system that's detected, no, this is not working, I'm going to cut power. So let's get onto the brake and stop the train once again. And you can see the power's coming back on automatically. I haven't touched the throttle. So not sure if this is realistic, but I guess it is. There we go, the engine's hunting again. I've got full throttle on. Listen to the squeaks. Yep. See that rearmost axle is slipping. Those wheels are slipping away there. Wow, that's awesome. That's what I'm here for, basically. So yeah, enough fooling around, I think. Look at that. Look at the amperage display. You've got the wheel slip indicator just above that. Two little yellow light is going on and off. That rearmost axle is just spinning. It's not happy. Well, actually, the middle axle there as well in this rearmost bogie is slipping as well. If I apply a bit of sand, yeah, now you can see that this, no, we're moving backwards again. Okay. Ooh, okay, there goes the rear axle again. It's just gone nuts, spinning away. You can see the wheels are all blurred out there. Okay, alright. Let's put a halt to the proceedings once more. Wow, look at the speedometer. You can see there it's gone up to 80 miles an hour. So yeah, it was really spinning away there. So yeah, I must say the adhesion physics, they're about probably 90% there. I think the sound elements are missing a little bit. When we saw the speedo at 90 miles an hour just now, I would have imagined a huge racket, you know, coming from those wheels, but obviously we didn't really hear anything. So I think the sound aspect of the adhesion loss is probably not quite 100% there, but I must say the physics aspect of it is very well done. So just going to show you how to actually move this train now, because we're stuck on a bit of a hill, it seems. And so basically what I like to do is I like to apply a little bit of locomotive brake and then apply some throttle only very gently, and then you can see there at the bottom right it says 0.2 and only just grasping 0.3 miles an hour. So this is basically how you can start the train on a bit of an incline in the wet. Basically is just apply the locomotive brake very slightly and then accelerate very gently around probably between 5 and 20% throttle, depending on the train weight and things like that. So I'm actually running against the brakes here of the locomotive, but the locomotive brakes are kind of stopping the wheels from slipping, so if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's what's happening at least. So you're kind of just playing a waiting game now. It looks like we're not making progress, but I'm actually reducing the locomotive brake a little bit here, and we're actually making a little bit of progress. So yeah, if you want to start the train in the wet on a bit of a hill and you've got a heavy train behind you, just apply the locomotive brake itself, the independent brake, and just be gentle with the throttle, and you'll notice that you'll start making forward progress. And when you reach, I don't know, a mile an hour, or probably hopefully more, you can start to let off that locomotive brake, and you can see there that the amperage on that on-screen display is like 1300 amps. So there's a lot of power going through right now, actually, through the axle. So the throttle's only, okay, it's at 20% now, and we are making forward progress. So yeah, I think we're out of the woods now, and we can continue our journey. So yes, apologies for that little delay. Hopefully you did enjoy that. I just thought I'd show off the physics aspect of it. I guess a lot of videos don't really cover that, and that's a really big thing for me. I love realism, and I hate just like having a cardboard simulation, as they call it, you know, where you just sit there operating levers and, you know, the train just moves along in a scripted manner and there's no physics really being calculated on it. This game, or this simulator I should say, for the first time in a long while, it's actually made me afraid of accelerating a train, as crazy as that sounds, because you can just feel the weight behind the train, you know, and you know that your actions have consequences. And I know that if I'm not careful with the throttle or the brake, the train can very well run away from me, you know, or I can lose traction and the train will fail to start properly, and then I'll be left spinning my wheels, kind of thing. So yeah, this is a bit of a breath of fresh air, I must say. So if you haven't tried Train Sim World 2, I would definitely recommend picking up this title. There is a bit of a sale on at the moment in Steam. I'm not trying to advertise this game in any way, shape or form, but yeah, you probably would have seen there in that loading screen there was a March Madness sale that's currently going on. So I did pick up that Tees Valley add-on here at a bit of a deep discount, so I recommend just checking that out if you haven't already, because this Tees Valley add-on is quite cool if you enjoy classic kind of British vintage rail, I guess, simulation. Okay, so we're making our way down the track, I guess, out of the steelworks. And we're just hit 10 miles an hour now, actually, so we're just, okay, the speed limit's just increased a little bit too, so we can actually pour on a bit more power in just a moment, and we can actually keep on accelerating. Got the wiper just wiping away there. You can adjust the speed of the wipers as well. There's also that little handle moving back and forth, as you can see, and you can actually click and drag your mouse to manually operate the wiper. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but you can if you really want to. Okay, so we're accelerating now, going up to about 15 miles an hour. Speed limit's about 20 miles an hour. The on-screen display really does help. At the top right, it shows you a little green marker, which is the next signal that's coming up, which is a green light. So I mentioned that as I as you begin to kind of get more familiar with the routes and the locomotives, you can turn off this on-screen display so that the speedometer that you can see here disappears, and the signal indication at the top right of the screen with a little green dot, that will disappear as well. So you have to really keep a lookout for the traffic lights and the signals, I must say, not traffic lights, but the signals as they call them, and make sure you're not running red signals and things like that. And yeah, but I'm just using the on-screen display for the moment anyway. So just making our way out of the steelworks here, and I just thought I would talk about, there you go, just stop the wiper there, and you can see there's even a park position for it, so you can stop it. Okay, bear with me. You can see the speedometer is quite angry there. It's got a big red line on it. It's basically saying I'm going over the speed limit. I was going to talk about the features in the game a little bit more, but let's just get out of this steelworks first and get onto the open main line, as it were. I just need to concentrate here for a little bit. Let's apply the throttle now, just keeping the speed under control. There's a few undulations here, it goes up and down, so you kind of have to watch your speed. Now, one thing I have noticed, we're just going through a set of switches here, or a set of points, and you can hear that it's actually fairly silent, and that's one thing that yeah, I'm kind of wondering whether that's realistic or not. But yeah, I don't really have too many gripes with this game, I must say, so far. In Derail Valley, I do know that when you go through a set of points, you really know you're going through a set of points, because you can hear the clickety clang and the and all that kind of stuff as you go through the points. But yeah, there's nothing like that, it seems, that I've seen, at least in this game so far. So I don't know, maybe they'll work on that, maybe not, but at the end of the day, it's not a huge thing. So yeah. Okay, so it says here to go via location South Bank in just under 300 yards there, so that's what that little blue marker is on the rails. I've got a lot of these assists on, I guess, for now, but yeah, as I get more familiar with this route, I look forward to turning off these on-screen markers and overlays and things like that. I am a big proponent of simulation experience and getting that full real experience. So yeah, who knows, maybe I'll make a few of my own scenarios as well, where you have to start the train from scratch. Oops. I think that's the right way to do it, low and then high, not high and low with these British engines. Just passing a station here. Okay, going a little bit downhill now, so there's a little inclinometer, I guess you could call it, at the far right bottom of the screen there. You can see it's pointing us 0.2% downhill at the moment. So yeah, apparently we're going down a little bit of a hill, so I'm just going to turn off the throttle there completely and just let the engine idle, because we are inching up towards the speed limit, and the speed limit there is denoted, in case you haven't figured out yet, on the speedo. At the bottom right, there's a red circle with a white infill on it, and you can see that our speed is coming up to that little red circle, so we're just below the limit at the moment. Now what you'll see at the top right of the screen is what they call action points, or AP, as you can see, and then we're at 900 at the moment. So as you drive, as long as you keep doing the right thing, those action points will increase. If you do the wrong thing, as long as it's not fatal, but like if you speed and do like other infractions, those action points will get deducted from you. So the hope is that by the time you get to the end of a scenario is that you have quite a lot of action points. Okay, and you can see I just got another 30 action points added to my pool there, so I'm at 930 because I've been driving under the limit. So it kind of rewards you as you go, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so our next location waypoint is Middlesbrough, and that's not due for another 1.8 miles. So the speed limit's now increased to 60 miles an hour. So I'm just going to pour on the power here, and we're more or less on the main line, I guess you could say now. Okay, So I think now is probably a good time to talk about some of the other features that this game offers. Train Sim World 2. So new adhesion physics is one of the things that's first on my list, at least. So we did have a look at that just before, just a few minutes ago, and that was quite exciting. I don't know if you'd agree with that or not, but in adverse weather it says here that you can really feel the wheel slip and the wheel slide, and we certainly did see that. And when there's a lot of freight behind you and when you're controlling a heavy train, that's when you really got to be careful with the adhesion, especially in inclement weather, or adverse weather as they call it. It says here as well, other things, you get 3 famous routes by default, which I did mention at the beginning of this video. You get that UK line, which is the Bakerloo line, which is, I guess, a bit of a classic line, although it is a modern day route as well. So it's the underground, London Underground kind of thing. You've got the German line, which we did look at as well, just on the main screen there, and that's actually the high-speed passenger train, so you can take them up to about 250 kilometers an hour. So yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, check out the that German line that we saw there. Excuse me while I just blow the horn. Coming out to another platform here. That's better. That didn't sound right. I'll get used to it. Sorry. It's been a little while since I've driven these types of trains, or these types of engines, so there you go. I think I'm getting the hang of it now. Here's a level crossing. Just thought I'd blow the horn again. Now there is AWS in this game as well, but I haven't quite got it activated, I think, in this locomotive at the moment. That's why it's not really prompting us for AWS. And I'm going grossly over speed again, so just bear with me a moment. Just need to concentrate again for a little bit, and then I'll continue with the features that this game has to offer in just a moment. Just bring the speed back under control. You can see the line there goes from red when you're excessively over the limit, back to yellow, and then back to white when you're under the limit. Okay, so I think more or less everything is under control right now. So actually we are reaching our next waypoint. That is only 0.6 miles away now, so the rain continues to beat against the locomotive here, so we'll keep the wiper going. And we're just safely under the speed limit here. I imagine once we pass this Middlesbrough waypoint in about 900 yards or less, we will be able to open it up once again and get some speed once again. Got a bit of an incline here actually, so just be mindful of that one. Speed's doing okay. Okay, yeah, so some of the other features, obviously I did mention there's 3 routes included by default with the game, and there's a whole slew of add-ons that you can get, right? So you could spend easily thousands of dollars on all the add-ons in true train simulator form, I guess, with Dovetail's franchise. They're well known for that, offering a myriad of add-ons, some better than others. I really recommend doing your research before you spend your hard-earned cash on any add-ons. No offense to the Dovetail team, they've been doing a very good job overall, I believe, but some of those add-ons I think probably leave a little bit to be desired. So definitely check out the videos, check out the live streams that the Dovetail Games team have been doing, and really just have a look at all the videos. Just you know, you can do your research and just see what kind of engines that you get. Have a look on Steam at the Steam reviews. If you're on the PlayStation Store, you can also get this game and the add-ons too, and there's reviews available there. But yeah, just make sure you do your research. I actually did quite a bit of research before I did choose this Tees Valley add-on, and I'm glad that I did. Some of the other add-ons, sorry, that I'm kind of interested in. One of the other ones is the Trans-Pennine. That's also another British route, I guess you could say, and that's got the Class 47. And it's also got the Class 101 diesel MU, the multiple unit as well. This add-on actually has the Class 101 diesel as well, as far as I'm aware. Probably won't get to look at that in this video today. But this add-on that we're looking at today actually also has the the class 101 and the class 08 diesel shunter. Okay, so this Tees Valley comes with 3 engines. This is one of them that I'm driving now, the class 37, and you got the class 08 and you got the class 101. Class 101 is something that I'd like to cover as well in a future video, because that has manual gear change. So really interested in seeing what all that's about. Alright, just thought I'd just quickly pause here, because you can actually check out the schedule and just see how much longer you've got to go until the end of the scenario. So you can see here, by clicking the schedule tab there at the top right, we can scroll down and we can see this is all the green ticks, obviously what we've already done. And we can see there's only 3 go-to locations remaining. Okay, so obviously, yeah, these could be quite far in distance between each other, but the fact that there's only 3 to go tells me that there's not too much more time left before we can complete this scenario. So yeah, that's just a quick way to sort of learn just how far along you are with the scenario itself. And anyway, some of the other features anyway, making my way through this list eventually. It talks about here journeys, so on any route you can explore more than 24 hours of gameplay, it says here. And there's obviously tutorials that guide you along your way as well. I've noticed that the voice narration is only present in some of the more default scenarios, I guess, or tutorials, but that's fine. On the US freight line, which is the what was that one? The sand patch grade, sorry. That one has some pretty cool US locomotives in there, and you're actually got access to quite a hilly, I guess, route scenario. I think I hear another train coming. Maybe. Or maybe that's vehicle traffic, I'm not too sure. Anyway. And yes, one of the other features that this game does have is the dynamic skies feature, which basically features multiple cloud layers, realistic sunlight. So they've really gone to town on the weather effects, as you can see here as well, and just the sky itself is very well modeled. There's a feature called Preserve Collection, which means that any add-ons that you've got from, if you happen to have Train Sim World 1, the first installment, you can actually port those over to Train Sim World 2, okay, the simulator that we're playing now. So as part of the Preserve Collection, you do have that option available to you. Okay, so yeah, that's a bit of a wrap up anyway of the features of the actual game itself. There is a little bit more time to go with this scenario itself, but yeah, basically it's more mainline action and just playing with the sun visor there. So yeah, anyway, I think I will speed things up a little bit here, and we'll get to the end of the scenario, and we'll start to wrap things up, because I'm just mindful of time as well. Okay, so we've been going along for a little bit now. We've come up to basically the final stop ahead of us, and it's only about 0.8 of a mile away, so doing a nice healthy 30 miles an hour here. And if I didn't know better, I would have thought that was a red light, but apparently not. I need to really learn my signals, especially on these routes. But you can see there that there's a red signal coming up in 0.8 miles. And yeah, there's a 30 mile an hour speed limit also coming up in 200 yards now. So just getting the brakes all set up and making sure that we're slowing down with enough time, because it can really, if you run those red lights, it's not a good day. It basically ends the scenario. So anyway, Darlington Goods Loop is the last stop in this scenario here. And just going through this set of points here, and basically I can see some sheds ahead of us, so this must be the end of the line more or less. So 20 miles an hour, 22 miles an hour at the moment, coming up to the end of the road. So just got to make sure that we keep things in check here. Just going through a little bit of a curve here. Love those sounds, absolutely wonderful. Okay, so more or less 500 yards to go. We have to stop before the red light. Really don't want to run that red light, because I think I'm going to run into a wall if we do that. Okay, so we'll just get onto the brake a little bit here. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, please subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video. Feel free to share the video with your friends. Leave a comment below any feedback that you may have for future videos for Train Sim World 2. I think I will look at probably the Class 101 diesel multiple unit in one of the upcoming videos that I will do on this simulator as well, and probably look at picking up a few other add-ons while the Steam sales are still going. So yeah, some exciting times ahead. Just gonna go ahead and put the brakes on. Don't want to run this red light. Oh, okay, 13 yards to go. Okay. Oh, good. I think that's the end. So we can hop out of the driver's seat. It says here, great work. You will need to wait here for a path to proceed further. Does that mean the scenario is going to continue? I didn't think so. I thought this was the end. Let's hop out anyway. Open this door. And oh, okay, got a bunch of achievements there. Okay, awesome. Okay, so that's the end of the scenario, and that looks like a gold medal. Excellent. Level 5. So you can see there's a little graph, performance graph there. You can see the green line is my driving, and the red line is the speed limit. So I more or less adhered to the speed limit. I did go over a little bit, but yeah, for the most part I was underneath that red line, so that's good. There was a few little points there that I did overshoot, but yeah, anyway, that's the end of that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, thanks for watching. Just gonna go back out to the main menu now of the Tees Valley add-on route at least, and we'll just have a look at some of the it's trying to start another scenario. Okay, so we won't do this one. We'll just go back to the Tees Valley line menu here, and you can see you can obviously, you can continue the journey, which we won't do today, but you can also explore, and the explore option shows you the other scenarios available to you, so you can actually go ahead and choose those scenarios. So if we go ahead and click on those, you can see here that there's a number of scenarios, and yeah, there's the 101 unit, the Class 101, which I will take a look at in probably one of the upcoming videos. So yeah, that one should be an interesting one, because that's got multiple gearbox, multiple speed gearbox, basically similar to the diesel railcar simulator that I was driving on this channel a little while ago now, where those locomotives did also have, or those multiple units did have transmission there, basically a manual transmission, so that'll be fun. Some people don't actually prefer that, but I find that quite interesting to actually drive these types of trains. So anyway, we'll look at that in one of the future videos. That's the Seaside Summer Special, that scenario name, for those of you who are interested. So yes, anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.